Welcome to week number 2 of the 2023 Madden NFL season. Last week was a great way to start this new series. We saw a lot of great games, and there were quite a few upsets. Now, we're on to a new week. Week 1 is in the books. Now, it's time for week number 2. Before we get into that, I just want to right quickly show you the standings going into week number 2. You can pause and take a look at these if you like. And again, each team's divisional record and conference record determines the tiebreakers. So we'll go down the list right quickly. There's the AFC West, the NFC East, NFC North, NFC South, and there's the NFC West. And here are the scores again from last week. And if you did not watch week 1 of the 2023 Madden season, I would recommend going back and watching week 1 of the series before checking out week number 2. And here are all the games that you're going to see in today's video. So without further ado, let's get started. Kicking off week number 2 of the season is our Thursday night matchup, as we will see a rematch of the 2017 NFC Championship game, as we will see the 1-0 Minnesota Vikings take on the 1-0 Philadelphia Eagles. Well, the Vikings tried to make another comeback for the second week in a row, but unfortunately it wasn't enough, as the Eagles come up with a 28-16 win over the Vikings. The Eagles will prove to 2-0 in the year, and the Vikings will drop to 1-1. Next up, we will see an AFC North battle, as we will see the runner-ups in the AFC North last season, the Baltimore Ravens, take on your defending AFC North champions, the Cincinnati Bengals. The Ravens that will win the battle of the AFC North, and they will get the revenge after what happened in the wild card last season. They win 26-22 over the Bengals. The Ravens will move to 2-0 in the year, and the Bengals will drop to 1-1. Next up, we'll see two teams that are looking for their first win of the season, as we'll see the Seahawks take on the Lions. It will be the Lions that will be getting their first win of the season, as Pete Carroll is not happy about this result. Lions win 28-18. They move to 1-1. And as for the Seahawks, after going to the playoffs last season, now they start their season 0-2 and has a lot of work to do if they want to get back into the playoffs. Next up, not only will we see an AFC South matchup, but we will also see a battle of two rookie quarterbacks, as we will see Anthony Richardson, the number 4 pick in the 2023 NFL Draft in the Indianapolis Colts, take on the number 2 pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, C.J. Stroud, and the Houston Texans. And the Colts get another impressive win. They win 38-24 over the Texans. The Texans will drop to 0-2. The Colts will move to 2-0, surprisingly. The Colts are looking good right now, but we'll see what happens next week, as they got a big road test coming up against the Baltimore Ravens. Up next, we'll see two more teams that are looking for their first win of the season, as we'll see the Chicago Bears take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Well, I thought we were going to get another 28-3 comeback for a second, but that wasn't the case. But the Bears do pick up the 28-13 win over the Bucs. The Bucs will drop to 0-2, and the Bears, they will now improve to 1-1. Next up, we will see a rematch of the divisional round in the AFC playoffs, as we will see the Kansas City Chiefs take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Well, it was a competitive game for a while, but the Chiefs run away with it at the end in the rain. Chiefs win 27-10. Chiefs are going to move to 2-0. The Jaguars are going to drop to 0-2. The Chiefs, as usual, are looking like they're one of the favorites in the AFC. As a matter of fact, one of the favorites to maybe win another Super Bowl. Next up, we'll see Jordan Love and the 1-0 Packers take on Desmond Ridder and the 0-1 Falcons. And so the Packers come back from a 24-10 deficit. So not surprising that the Falcons would do something like that. Green Bay wins 30-27. The Packers will improve to 2-0. And as for the Falcons, well, they drop to 0-2 after blowing another game that they should have won. Next up, we will see the Raiders take on Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. And so the Bills get a nice bounce-back win after their defeat to the Jets last week. The Bills win 31-20 over the Raiders. The Bills move to 1-1. The Raiders drop to 0-2, and for the second week in a row, the Raiders just did not have a great game, as they got stuff to figure out down there in Las Vegas. Our last matchup in the early window will feature two teams that finished runner-up in their divisions, as we will see the Chargers battle the Tennessee Titans. And the Chargers will get a nice 39-20 win over the Titans. The Chargers will improve to 1-1, and the Titans will drop to 0-2. Well, at least for Titans fans, you were able to score points this time. But right now, not the start that Tennessee wanted. Now it's time for the late games. First up, we will see a battle of California as we will see the 49ers take on the Los Angeles Rams. Rams needed a touchdown to tie this game up. They do not get it as the 49ers get a game-changing interception as they win 30-23 in a fantastic game. 49ers will move to 1-1 and the Rams will drop to 1-1. Next up, we'll see the New York Giants, who is trying to get a bounce-back win after they had an embarrassing loss against the Dallas Cowboys last week, as they'll take on the Arizona Cardinals. And the Giants do get a nice bounce-back win. They get a dominating 35-17 win over the Cardinals. The Giants will improve to 1-1, and the Cardinals will drop to 0-2. It's looking like a long season for the Cardinals. Next up, we will see the New York Jets, who will be without Aaron Rodgers, be traveling to Jerrysville to take on the Dallas Cowboys. How about this? The Jets with Zach Wilson absolutely destroys the Cowboys. Jets win 34-14 over the Cowboys. How about that? Even without Aaron Rodgers, the Jets have proven that they still can be contenders in the AFC. Will that momentum continue for the Jets? But for the Cowboys, not what they wanted to see, as they're going to drop to 1-1 of the season. And our final game in the 4 o'clock window, you will see the Washington Commanders take on the Denver Broncos. And it looks like Russell Wilson cooked up his first loss of the season as the Commanders get a 34-20 win over the 34-20 win over the Broncos, Commanders will move to 2-0 of the season. Broncos will drop to 1-1. By the way, you know how Russell Wilson always finds a way to turn over the football when he's in the red zone or around in the goal line? Well, he threw an interception in the end zone early in the first quarter. So it's weird that the struggle still continues for Russell Wilson whenever he gets into the red zone, because it just seems like every time he throws a pass in the goal line, it's always an interception. Not always, but it happens a lot. Crazy. On to our primetime games. First up, our Sunday Night Football matchup will feature the Miami Dolphins taking on the New England Patriots in the AFC East battle. And the Patriots get an impressive 31-7 win over the Miami Dolphins. The Patriots are going to get their first win of the season, and the Dolphins are going to get their first loss of the season. Now on to our Monday Night Football games. We got 2 of them. First up, you'll see Derek Carr and the Saints take on Bryce Young and the Panthers. It was a low-scoring game, but the Panthers get a 13-10 win over the Saints. The Saints had multiple chances to win this game, but they missed 2 field goals, which is what cost them. They had a fast start early in the game, but since then they just stalled out. So congrats to the Panthers. They get their second win of the season. As for the Saints, they drop to 1-1 of the season. And in our second Monday Night Football game, in our final game in week number 2, you will see a classic AFC North battle, as you will see the Cleveland Browns take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Steelers get a 27-10 win over the Cleveland Browns. The Steelers will move to 2-0 in the year, and as for the Browns, they will be heading into next week still looking for their first win of the season. And that's going to do it for week number 2. Here's a look at all the scores once again. Congratulations to all 16 that won their games this week. Here are the updated standings going into week number 3. Not surprised that the AFC South has records like this, but I am surprised that the Jaguars are 0-2 and the Colts are 2-0. That's something right there. And I did double check, and there are still 9 teams that are yet to lose a game this season, and there are still 9 teams that are looking for their first win of the season. Everyone else sits at 1-1. And there's the updated standings. Here's a look at all the games that you're going to see next week in week 3. The only game that you will see that will have a 2-0 team face a 2-0 team will be the Colts-Ravens game. And the only game that will determine a team's first win of the season will be Texans versus Jaguars, because both of those teams are still winless this season. Other than that, you got 2-0s taking on 1-1s, 1-1s taking on 0-2s, and so on. And that's going to do it for us today. This is Robert Magic. You guys have a great rest of your night. Take care, and I will see you all next week for week number 3 of the 2023 Madden NFL season.